What's worse than a pedophile? Somebody who helps them to get away. So what do you do when the people who claim to be your friends intentionally help your predators to get away? What do you do when your friends claim that they will help you to turn this stuff in, and they literally never do? What do you do when something that could take... how long would it take for you to find out what happened to your daughter if she told you she was fucking raped? How long would it take you to find out what's going on if your son was coming home bloody every day? How long would it take you to find that out? How long would it take you to turn that in? How about if your grandfather in a nursing home? How about if they're assaulting him and then feeding him so many medications that he really doesn't know what the fuck is going on, and then they're going to say that he's got dementia? Does he really have dementia? No, he's all fucked up on drugs. How long is it going to take you to turn that in? You think it's a coincidence that right after he tells you that he was assaulted, that all of a sudden he's all fucking doped up and loopy out of nowhere? You don't think that that's kind of, I don't know, maybe a sign that something's messed up? Now, then there's the people that you completely forget about. Oh, it's completely wrong to do it to an elderly person in a nursing home. It's completely wrong to do that shit to a little boy or a little girl. But you do it to a mentally ill person. You've already assigned schizophrenia and delusions to this person. What you've done is just insult them and try to discredit them as a human being. Now, those children are protected by mandatory reporter laws. That's in this hand. Those elderly are protected by mandatory reporter laws. What about everything in the middle? What about victims who have PTSD? And they're having a reaction because they've literally been assaulted. Or because these people who won't leave them alone keep harassing them and threatening them and coordinating with others and trying to make sure that they can't go anywhere. How about tell the fucking public the goddamn truth? How about try that? Now here's my problem with Claire Jordan. When she was here, all right, now I'm not going to say that she's on meth. She knew that I was against it. She claims that she's against drugs. Maybe it is a PTSD thing. All right, maybe it is. But the whole time she was here, she literally never once made any attempt to actually help me. Not even one. Not even one. She did not help me. She promised to, but she always, 100% of the time, broke her word. Then, of course, I've gotten to hear a lot of people here in town about the situation with Casey and how pretty much everybody knew that he was strung out on meth. I've gotten to hear story after story from her, but the problem is they keep changing. Like at first, when she left town and knew that if she just disappeared for no reason and said absolutely nothing, she knew that I was going to fucking freak out, but she did not care. This was not something where she was trying to help me. This was a manipulation tactic. And that's not okay. Kara Scudder, she went with me to TFCC, try to get something done. Nothing got done. Now, that was because I believe they were closed. But she went with me to Northwest Senior and Disability Services. And this is the one and only time that they talked to me like I was a person in there instead of being completely fucking shitty. Kara Scudder went in. Now, she was going to go back in with me, but she didn't keep her word. Kara Scudder got to be a part of a lot of things, and her family got to see a lot of the abuse, but they never once lifted a goddamn finger to help turn in the shit that they saw. Oh, Kara Scudder would go with me. But was she a witness to the shit that I was going through? No. Was she looking at any evidence? No. And the one time that she was going to sit down and look at that and actually listen to my story, I couldn't tell my story because that's the one time that Claire wanted to show up and claim, oh, all of a sudden I'm going to help you after all of this time hanging out with this goddamn meth head who's already got a history of fucking shit up with you, Sean. And I did tell her that. She didn't hear anything that I had to say. Now, if she's in such a stuck form of trauma that is the state of mind that she's in, she shouldn't have kids. She should not have any kids in her custody if she is that completely out of it. She can't remember shit for 30 seconds. The most simple instructions go completely over her head. She wants to make 10,000 other cockamamie crazy suggestions that she's never going to follow through with. She will literally never follow through with these things. I've been hearing about these true crime people that she knows for over 3 years now. She's gonna, over 3 years. Now let's go back to 2023 and the situation with her and when she left. That was the only time that Kara Scudder had. That was our one opportunity to get something fucking done. And instead of us getting to work on what needed to get done, this is literally the same day that the lady from, actually, I guess it's that direction, from Tides of Change called up at like fucking too late at night to go anywhere and plug in my computer. That was the same exact day. It's also the same exact day that's literally the last time I saw Claire Jordan. Now I want you to consider that. The last time that I saw Natalie Bollinger was on my birthday in 2016 in Chesapeake, Virginia. That is literally the last time I ever saw her. Now, something had happened to Claire. How much hell do you think people would have put me through? I've already been accused of killing a whole bunch of people just because I helped find missing people, and some of these people turned out to be dead. Now, how screwed up is that? Because somebody is trying to help find a missing person, they must be a murderer? The fuck is wrong with you? What kind of thinking is that? You're not using your fucking head. Meanwhile, I'm stuck with Claire, and she fucking... Either it's trauma, or she's on fucking meth. One or the other. If her trauma's that fucking severe, that she's coming across like that, yeah, she's not fit to take care of her kids if she's that fucked up in the head. Now, obviously, she's got her kids. She's able to function as a human being. She's able to do the things that she needs to do. So she's not that fucked up in the head. Then she found out that something that works. Oh, well, if I always have to talk to these investigators, and then she wants to tell me these cockamamie stories, and they are cockamamie because she has literally never produced a single piece of evidence. She's relied on the fact that she is a white woman to get sympathy, and I'm expected to believe her. Well, I don't. I don't believe her. I believe that she found one excuse that she is way overused at this point. She's telling me she's having to work with all these detectives and trying to help out all of these rape victims, like 11 rape victims in one fucking town in like fucking no time whatsoever. 7 rape victims in like the last week and a half. Yeah, I'm probably going to have problems believing that. I mean, I can believe that if you're the only person in a small town that was actually willing to do that, yeah, word of mouth, people are going to come to you for help. But the fact that she is so incredibly naive and ignorant about every step of it, and she wants to, in order to basically talk herself out of looking at something or listening to something, she'll pretend that she already did. To the point of literally manufacturing stories of jobs that she's had in the past. Maybe she had those jobs, maybe she didn't. But to tell me that she's taken mandatory reporter training, no, she has not. She absolutely has not. Now, I've tried to be nice about it and suggest politely that maybe she could look at it to brush up on it. Realistically, it's because she doesn't know what the fuck she's talking about. And I need her to fucking know what the fuck she's talking about instead of going into this all fucking ignorant. Not just ignorant, all right? There's something to be said for being ignorant of a situation. There's something else to be said for walking into a situation, lying through your teeth about something you are 100% wrong about. And you know you're 100% wrong about it. Now, here's one of the things with Claire is that, there's a lot of things that I don't say because I want to believe that she's going to do something to actually help turn in this abuse. There's a reason that I've been sending it to her into this the villain's crime for all these years because she keeps claiming that she's gonna. Now, how much time has she wasted? And she doesn't focus on me, she focuses on her. Or she wants to interrupt me over and over and over again to tell me a little tidbit about somebody being raped. Followed by what? Followed by, but it's not about me, it's about you. No, it's not about me. You're showing repeatedly that when you interrupt me to say that repeatedly in a conversation, it's not about me. That's not making me feel better. That's making me feel worse. And I let her know that, and she does it more. You guys know those kinds of people. You want Andrew Woolnez to leave you alone? You ask him to leave you alone. Does that work? No, it doesn't. I know that doesn't work. That's what I tried first. This is what I try with everyone. Unless it's immediate hostility in my face with hands on me. I try to talk my way out of the situation. And even when they've got their hands on me, I try to explain to them, hey, dude, what the hell are you thinking? But there comes a point when enough is enough. When somebody is looking for anybody that they can take their hate and rage out on, like Andrew Woolnez does, it's not just me that he does this to. But he knows if he does it to me, the cops are going to look the other way. Just like Chris Stafford knew that if he did it to me, the cops were going to look the other way. Here's the thing about Claire. Wanting to believe her, and she keeps on claiming that she's got just as much evidence as I do. Well, I know for a fact that while she was here, when I told her, hey, it's probably a good idea for you to record this, she wanted to, on more than one occasion, when she was wanting to try to do the pissing contest, when I'm saying, hey, I got this stuff recorded. Well, it would be nice if I'd have had the ability to record it. Well, okay. You know, she on more than one occasion even tried to insinuate that I was a spoiled brat, basically, because I was able to record and that she wasn't. Like, I'm trying to find honest people here, and she tells me she's never lied to me. No, she's lied to me a lot. When she told me that she didn't even know that I was blocked, Casey did that. Casey went in and erased all these people off of her contacts list. It was Casey. It was Casey. It was Casey. And I recorded her telling that story. Now I have her telling me that she did it for my safety. She was doing it for my safety from Casey, for my safety. No, 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 no. That is absolutely not why she did it. She came in on the one day that I had somebody there to help me and just wouldn't shut up about herself. She claimed that she was coming to help me, that, why did she do it? Because she needed the money. That's why. She did not give a shit prior to that. When she wanted to get out of town finally, her and Casey together wanted to leave town. Together. This guy that she's talking about being a crazy fucking fucked up person in the head doing shit in the mountains here with her before she left, and she still left with him. She come to interrupt the very little time that I had with Miss Scudder to show this stuff and to make the calls that we needed to make. She was there with me in the Fred Meyer so that I could literally show her evidence. That's what Kara Scudder was there for, and she didn't look at it. Why didn't she look at it? Because Claire Jordan came in and wasted all of our time talking about herself when she was supposedly there to help me so she could earn some money. Did she earn that money? No, she didn't. Now, what's more likely here? Is it more likely that she blocked me to keep me safe from the tweaker boyfriend that she was with? She left here with him. She was still with him. Like, it was almost immediate after that situation with Kara Scudder. The problem is, I still have to fucking worry because I don't know for sure that that's a situation. It might be a situation where Casey did that. It might be a situation where she's afraid for her safety if people connect that she's been talking to me. I don't know. I don't have all the information, but that's the wonderful thing about these people continuing, is that they're disingenuous. You know, some people will try to do the fake it till you make it crap. No, don't fake it. Don't pretend that you know about this stuff if you don't. Now, when we were supposed to have a call together and she promised me, this is years later, by the way, when she promised me that she was finally going to be involved in one of these meetings where I could go in and take in my evidence and Claire could be on the phone with me. Because when she was here in person and promised to go in with me in person, she literally did not show up or made it about her every time she had some emergency. Literally, every single time that it was time to keep her word, it was either an emergency or she tried to pawn me off on Casey, who I already knew was a fucking twack job. I already knew that the dude was sucking so much blow that he probably didn't have a good understanding of where he even was at. I know that he kept on wanting to wander off into the woods to go find Brian and then come back talking 200 miles an hour. Claire said that nobody offered to help her to turn this stuff in. She yelled that at me. Yelled at me that nobody helped me turn it in. I tried. I offered repeatedly. But the other thing is, when she tells her stories and she needs this help turning it in, and then she has to disappear. You know, Casey has to disappear because he's got to go talk to Brian, right? Well, she's got to disappear to go try to turn this in by herself after literally claiming that she needed somebody to help her turn it in, same as I did. But then she kept on supposedly going in alone to turn it in. This is the thing, is that I don't have any evidence. She didn't actually send me a single recording of these things. I'm having to believe her just based on her word. And just based on her word, she has spent the last week on the phone with investigators in rape cases. Well, if that's true, why is she still so incredibly ignorant of this stuff? Why is it that she's still so incredibly ignorant of how to listen? I'm going to tell you a real quick story that's slightly unrelated. So there was a girl that was in one of my groups, and this is I want to say it was a group home. It might have been a big foster home, and when you go to big foster homes, they take you to special ed schools. It's not pleasant. Let me pause this for a second while I roll a cigarette. All right, well, like I said, it's a little off topic, so I can make the point later. So with Claire, you know, I'm sending her all this evidence, and when I'm asking her to verify that she's seen it, well, she dances around the question. Yes, she's seen it. Well, what's in it? There's a big difference between what I'm going through and what Claire's claiming. Claire claims that she has just as much evidence as I do, and she's been through just as much as I have, and she's got evidences. No, 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 no. She didn't even start recording until she started hanging out with me, and I can't really call it hanging out. You know, we talked to each other because we were in similar situations. She says they call her Mama Claire, and she does all this stuff for people. And she's always got people that are calling her when it's time to do something important too. I can understand that, but not if you don't try to come forward about it, or at least inform me beforehand. Now, what are the chances that she blocked me because I needed to get work done? She claimed she was there to help me, and I had to let her know, hey, I'm trying to work on this, and you're not helping. And I was very blunt about it. Not rude, blunt. There's nothing wrong with being blunt. I respect blunt. as long as it's honest. There's a difference between saying, that's not going to work. Well, that's pretty blunt. And saying, you're a fucking idiot. You can call that blunt, but no, that's rude. That's insulting. Now, where did I learn how to insult people? From the people insulting me. See, that's the thing about the stuff that you guys want to pretend is so horrible for me to say. I told you that people were doing and saying those things to me, and you didn't bat an eye. So I give you an example. This is what I'm having to go through. And what do? Oh, Sean, you're a horrible person. You were yelling. Yeah, goddamn right I was. Did anything else get your fucking attention? Now, Shannon Alvarado and Claire, they do remind me a lot of each other. And the fact that they, even if you tell them 100 times, it's not going to stick. Claire tells me how good her memory is and how she can remember all these names. And I'm like, all right, well, what's the name of the main guy who's been assaulting me? Is it Chris Wolnez? No, it's not Chris Wolnez. No, it's not Chris Wolnez. Like, she assured me 5 times in a row, because, like, she was definitely having memory issues. And this is definitely something that can happen from trauma, especially if you're getting beaten and raped. But I'm also aware that, well, the majority of the women on my Facebook, even, who claimed they were raped, either bragged about it to somebody else that it was a lie, or they were typing with other people that it was untrue, or the people who encouraged them to do it then later posted it up online. According to Facebook, I believe it was like 70% of the accusations of rape and abuse from women online, those women admitted in their own chat or in their own messages that it was untrue. Now, that also asks the question about your privacy. If Facebook can tell that information, if their AI can figure out that you, as a woman, were bragging to your boyfriend about pretending that your soon to be ex husband was a child molester and beat on you all the time, and then you go and do it, well, actually, the Facebook AI has proof now. Proof that you were dishonest. Now, I'm not Facebook. I have to do it the old fashioned way. That means asking questions, paying attention, and listening. And I don't listen as much as I should when some of these people are talking. A lot of them do tell important details, but they're not telling them to the right person. Of the 11 times that Claire Jordan has promised me that she's going to make an email to send out to these people, she's never done it. When it comes to she was going to be involved with that call with Miss Shelley, that was pretty friggin' important. But she, no call, no show. Then there was the call that was supposed to be with Miss Miller, who's like the head person of the board of directors. And when I scheduled a time for that, again, Claire was a no call, no show. But immediately after that was the visit with Brandon, and of course, then she thinks that that's what she's supposed to do. Like, no, no. If you'd have kept your word, you'd know what the hell is going on. If you read what I sent you, you'd know what's going on. If you're gonna tell me that you read it, but then you don't know anything that's in there, you didn't read it. If you're gonna tell me you got a memory like a steel trap and you can't remember one name, like, this is what I was explaining to Claire. Claire, there are a lot of names involved. It is super complicated. You are never going to be able to keep it straight, especially if you keep interrupting me. But she can't stop herself, just like Shannon Alvarado. It's a compulsion, it's an obsession with speaking. Meanwhile, I hate this. I don't want to speak up on YouTube from a tent. Between smoking this nasty cigarette here in Tillamook, Oregon, and smoking a J with my older brother in Boulder, Colorado, I'd rather be smoking a J in Boulder, Colorado. I'm not going to lie about that. However, if I had a choice between smoking a J and seeing my brother, I'd choose seeing my brother every single time. I would choose that option every single day. If I woke up in the morning, even if I am sick and fucking tired of my older brother and his ignorance, the fact is, even if he beat me up the day before and you gave me a choice between a J and seeing my older brother, I would still choose to see my older brother. I love him that much. Which is funny because it's not saying much. I've quit smoking pot before, and I've also started smoking pot again before. The fact that Oregon, they're not going to help you because, in their minds, all homeless people need is therapy and drug counseling, whether they're druggies or not. You'll spend millions of dollars on pills and psychiatrists when we need a fucking pig to do their fucking job. That's what we need. Now, Claire Jordan claiming that she's working with all these police and she knows all these different people. Oh, all of a sudden, whenever it's time for her to come forward and tell these things, she can't. Now, here's one of the things about people who always want to one-up you. They never want to turn it in. They'll say they want to turn it in. And then at the last minute, there's always something that comes up. And then they tell you they did it themselves, and then they want to have another pissing contest about who has a worse story about going through the bullshit with the cops. Most of the stuff that she went through here, I didn't find out those stories until after she left, because her story kept on changing. Now, there's the possibility that it was changing based on the situation. There's also the possibility that more than one thing are true. For example, why do I have my YouTube channel? First of all, to speak up about the abuse. Yeah. Second of all, so that my predators always know where I am. My predators include entire families, all right? The whole Bollinger family took part in this. All the women that Ted beat, I mean physically beat on, helped him not only to get away with this, but they work together to destroy my life for telling the truth. And it's somehow okay. If you help out a pedophile, knowing that he's a pedophile, that's pretty disgusting. Wasting someone's time and pretending that you're going to help them, pretending that you're going to look at evidence, pretending that you looked at the evidence. None of this is okay. Pretending that you have recordings, but then you can never produce them. You can never find them. I find them all eventually now, don't I? Eventually, depends on how many videos there are. It'll take a long time to find some of those videos. And then again, when I go through a lot of the videos, I'm trying to find the specific ones that I'm looking for. I'm pretty much in a hurry to try to get it to somebody on a deadline. I can't stop and go, all right, well, we're like 2 minutes into this and these little fuckers called me the N-word again. No, I'm busy trying to find important stuff. You type in just one word wrong in the search bar and you don't find what you're looking for. There's also, when I type in exactly what I'm looking for, word for word, and it's got 30 different things that are, I'm going, what the fuck does this have to do with the price of tea in fucking Scotland? And here's the issue with Claire. You know, it's a situation where every time that it's time to keep her word, there's always some emergency. Or she's got 100 other ideas that we can do instead. Hey, how about instead if we look at the evidence and turn it in together? Well, I've got these friends who do true crime stuff too. Well, how about we show it all to them? How about we send it to them? How about we... No. You get to see how much stuff that I fucking sent to her. And I want to show you how much that I sent to her because she was supposedly going to help me just on this one phone. How much time that she wasted pretending that she's going to help me. How much she bitched that nobody would go in with her to turn in these crimes. Nobody would help her to turn in these crimes. And I offered over and over and over again repeatedly. But the most important stuff, she's going to be a no-call, no-show. And if she wants extra sympathy, she doesn't stop to reflect on the fact that disappearing for 2 days when you said you were going to help me both of those days, you're a no-call, no-show, you're not texting back, you're not calling back, you're literally ignoring me for that entire time. And then I have to go into this meeting that you claimed that you were going to help me with, that you were going to speak up. And I go in to see Kylie Petrie, and guess who's a no-call, no-show again? Claire Jordan, as always. Now, there's a lot of stuff that she wants to claim, but she doesn't have any proof. She claims that she records everything, and I have asked her repeatedly to record this stuff, and she doesn't or can't for some reason. Like, she claims that she's got all of this recording stuff. Let me show you, all right? I've got recording stuff. I've got plenty of recording stuff. I mean, I've got this phone right here, right? I got the phone that I'm recording on right there. I've got another phone right here. It's full of evidence. Oh, and another phone right here. That's right. Every time they want to lock me up on false charges, I lose my phone number. So I have to purchase a new phone and get a new phone number. You know how fun that is? And of course, the advice when these people are calling me from restricted numbers over and over and over again is, well, why don't you just get a new phone number? And then when I've called a friend from multiple different numbers, and then all of a sudden they want to play victim and pretend that I'm calling them from all these different numbers and harassing them over and over again from all these different numbers. Oh, no, 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 no. No, that's not okay. All of these have recordings on them, all of them, but this isn't all. I've bought multiple recording devices over and over again. Police like to steal that shit. Oh, here's another one. Yeah, and it works when it's not plugged in. That's right. It's a body cam. It's actually a dash cam, but it'll fit in a pocket. Now I got to figure out a way to rig it up so that I can hold it and carry it while I'm going through town, so that obviously I've got a camera on at all points in time, so that when people are screaming stuff and yelling stuff and throwing stuff, at least it's recorded. But then, of course, these things have these little cards on the side, just like the telephones do, and they eventually get full. Now, I don't always have the ability to stop and go through every single one of those, especially when I'm expected to dig through and find evidence because some fucking nut job promised to help me and never kept her word, and now she's feeling guilty, but she still doesn't want to keep her word. I don't trust anything that she has to say for a reason. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of people pretending that they're going to help me turn this in, and then at the last moment, they make any excuse. Kayla Trujillo, for example, she was going to help me to turn this stuff in. She literally never helped. Never. She argued with people in Facebook groups. That's what she fucking did. The evidence that I was sharing with her, was she sharing it with any of them? No, she wasn't even listening to what I was fucking saying. She was too busy telling me what to do, giving me advice, and promising me that she's going to help me to turn this in just to do the same exact thing as Claire. At the last minute, well, don't you have somebody else you can ask? Yeah, you have me set up this appointment at a time when you can do it, right? Because you're going to help me how I need, which, according to the paperwork, what does it say? Does it even address me first? No, it doesn't. It addresses friends or family first. This is the abuse and neglect paperwork. This stuff at the bottom shows what all constitutes abuse. These are criminal acts. These are not civil acts. These are criminal acts. All of these. And all of these. But when the police are the ones that do it, and you have to turn them into themselves, and they just pretend that you're delusional to everybody in town, it doesn't work out too good, does it? What are the risk factors? Yeah, those are important too. But this isn't the part that we're going to look at. We're going to look at this part right here. Now, of course, they didn't give me the disability paperwork. No, that would be too simple, wouldn't it? No, they got to give me the elder abuse paperwork so that I have to listen to people on the fucking internet who are claiming that they want to help me, arguing that this is the wrong paper because I'm not an old man. I fucking know that. But if you notice, how can it be prevented? This is so that it doesn't happen. So that it doesn't happen to begin with. If it doesn't happen to begin with, then you don't have to fix a problem because it never arrives. Having a friend or family member. Now let's read what it says here. See, it says, how can elder abuse be prevented? And then right here it says, if you are a family member or a friend. And I literally have been trying to explain this for years, since well before I got this. Since over a year before Natalie was killed. Because, unlike Claire, I've gone through this. But another problem is people kept on wanting to send me in the wrong direction. All of this elder abuse crap. I've tried that. All right. The problem is not having someone to go in with me who knows what the fuck is going on. How do you prevent it? By being there and paying attention so you know what's going on. If there's a particular staff member, for example, that your grandma is having an issue with, he or she happens to have a really, really bad attitude and it's getting steadily worse. And then your grandma's got a bunch of bruises. Well, you're aware that there was an issue with that nurse previously. You were aware that it was escalating. And now that your grandma's too doped up to tell you what the fuck happened to her, Y'all seeing an issue with this? No, no, of course you're not. You're not connecting the dots. Yeah, your grandma's a human being, but a mentally ill person isn't. But they can drug your grandma into being mentally ill, at least temporarily. And if she takes a lot of those drugs, it will become permanent. If your grandma is given Haldol and Ativan, she's not going to know what the fuck is going on. If she's on Haldol and Ativan, she literally may be hallucinating when you go to visit her. Just saying. And what do they do when somebody's antagonized and bullied and harassed and threatened by police? What are they going to do? They're going to be scared. And when they exhibit signs of being scared, the police will have the hospital inject you with those drugs. And you think that I'm kidding? No, I'm not. They will especially make sure that that situation happens if they know you're trying to turn in one of their own. How do you prevent that? Well, by not acting like Claire. By not acting like Kayla Trujillo. Out of all of their help, what they've done is effectively waste my fucking time. See, first of all, if you want my trust, when we go to turn something in together where it has to be together, then you do need to keep your word to be there. And this is at least a dozen, maybe possibly even 24 times that Claire has done this. Where she claims she's going to, but doesn't follow through. It's kind of like with Kayla Trujillo, where she's going to help me to turn that stuff into the state police because that's who Boulder Police is telling me I got to turn this into. But of course, the state police, well, they didn't want to answer their doorbell. It was too late to go there, and we should have known that it was too late to go there because Kayla Trujillo didn't want to get off of her word game on her telephone. Then she wanted to, when I said, hey, you're playing games on your telephone. You've been playing games on your telephone since you said that we were going to go do this. They're going to be closed soon. She's like, you're playing on your telephone? No, I wasn't playing on my telephone. I was working on making sure that I gathered up the evidence on that telephone, taking screenshots, so that I would be able to show it to somebody when we went in to talk to the state police. But guess what? That's exactly what I expect to deal with every time with Kayla Trujillo. She always has something more important. When she says that she's going to do something, she doesn't follow through. She wants to replace the help that you need, which is a friend or family member in person, with a whole bunch of other ideas that she's not going to try. Or a whole bunch of ideas that I've already tried. Or something that completely does no good for me. Like, for example, Kayla Trujillo thought that, well, I need to be a part of a dating site. I'm like, no, but she wanted to be insistent and even bully me to that point. So finally, I literally gave up my internet information and my email information so that she could help me the way that she wanted to. And that just resulted in a bunch of, hi, my name's Kelly and I'm a lonely housewife stuff being sent to me. No, thank you. Constantly want to interrupt me and tell me about your kids, your kids, your kids, your kids. Don't make promises if you're going to use your kids as an excuse not to keep your promises. Also, after you've used your kids as an excuse to not keep your promises, please don't make that promise again. The other thing is, if you know things about this situation, then you do need to turn it in. And you need to turn it in with me. If Claire Jordan was a mandatory reporter, she would have known exactly how to turn this in while she was here. And the stuff that she keeps saying about the Masons, I mean, really, she keeps going back to that and this cult. Masons and cults. No, this is delusional bullshit at this point. Yes, they are very creepy. Yes, it does come across very much as cult-like. But she cannot understand the concept of you cannot use those words with these people. You use the word cult, they're going to hang up on you. If not physically, at least mentally. You start talking about the Freemasons, which even today I've had to listen to that. Now, she admits that there's Masons elsewhere that don't do this stuff. But the other thing is, like, at this point, I'm kind of afraid that because every time she interrupts to say that, I start explaining that it's just here, that might be somehow encouraging parts of her stories. That she, if I hadn't interrupted her, she might have said some very outlandish, schizophrenic type of crap. And I'd know. And I'd know at least that I'd wasted my time with a schizophrenic who's very good at masking. I want to believe Claire, but I know that Claire is a liar. I know that Claire doesn't keep her word. I know that she is aware of how to push my buttons. And I don't mean name calling. I mean going missing. No call, no show. And even if you hate me, if you and I are friends, and you disappear out of nowhere, I'm gonna fucking freak out. If you and I are friends, and then we stop being friends, and you disappear out of nowhere, that's even more scary for me, because if something happens to you, I might get blamed. With Natalie Bollinger for over a year, I was afraid of getting the phone call that I got on December 28th, 2017. For an entire year of people assaulting me and threatening to kill me over and over again, to the point that I had to live in low income in Chapel, Nebraska, a place that has historically been shitty to me because it's a KKK town just like Tillamook. And I look too goddamn Jewish. I'm not sure if you noticed, but there's some curly hairs here that tend to... I just recently trimmed them. And you know why I trim them? Because if it gets humid out, they start curling up. I'm not talking about like the rabbis do intentionally. I'm talking about my hair just naturally does that. So this part always gets cut off. Now, what does any of this have to do with Claire? What does this have to do with Claire Jordan? All of those phone calls that I had to do those things by myself and got blown off, I have to tell her about those things because she wasn't there, which means that it takes twice as much time, if that. And it's going to take 5 times as long because she's not going to shut up about herself. She tells me that she's going to go over this stuff with me so that she knows what we're turning in. She's going to look at the evidence so that she can verify it and turn it in with me. But whenever I test her impeccable memory, it turns out she doesn't remember the things that I told her, doesn't remember the things that I showed her, doesn't remember any of the names. says that she's always got a writing pad and a pen in front of her. Then every time that it's time to write something down, instead of writing it down, she tells me about her impeccable memory. No, we cannot rely on your memory. And guess what I did last night? I fucking yelled at her. Yeah, I'm not going to pretend I didn't. It was the fourth time that we were attempting something. The fourth time. 4 times. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. 3 strikes, you're out. No, I am dependent on this person for help because nobody else is going to do it. If I go tell a schizophrenic drug addict my story, I'm going to have to listen to a schizophrenic drug addict tell me about Freemasons and aliens and unicorns and the CIA. Brainwave rays and anal probes. No, I don't want to hear this shit. I don't give a fuck about Bigfoot. Like, seriously, one dude was telling me that he was sexually molested by Bigfoot. Yeah, that... You think he's going to be helpful? No. You think that's going to stand up in a court of law? Kayla Trujillo said to make the appointment, but she didn't give me a time or a date, and I tried over and over and over again by myself. Didn't get anywhere. Got me ignored. No, they're not going to make an appointment with just me. Kayla, if you're going to go in with me, what time are you available? What day do you have off? And we'll go in on that day. If you're working Wednesday, we can't do it on Wednesday. If you're off on Wednesday, then we can do it on Wednesday, but I can't go in alone. She wanted to ignore that. Obviously, she had all sorts of other ideas that she thought of. Everybody's got the idea, well, why don't you cut off your beard? Why don't you cut your hair? Why don't you dye your beard? Why don't you dye your hair? Why don't you get different colored contacts? Why don't you change your name? Literally, all of these are superficial changes that do not change the fact that this slander has been repeatedly used to prevent me from being treated like a human being. It's prevented me from having the rights of a human being. It has created a situation where anybody can harm me, call me mentally ill, and get away with it. So Claire doesn't show up for the one with Shelley. I really didn't expect her to because she didn't show up for any of the ones prior to that. And then there was the one with Miss Miller at TFCC, and she promised over, oh, I will. No, she fucking didn't. And not only did she didn't, but she also didn't write any of it down like she claimed she was gonna. She also doesn't have any of these recording devices that she claims that she has. She can never find them, apparently. I mean, an old phone can be used to fucking take pictures, as long as the memory isn't completely full. Now, some of these, I have to go through and try to find stuff that is unimportant. Sometimes I have to listen to a whole 15-minute walk that I went through so that I can delete a 15-minute video if nothing happens in it. Now let's look at this stuff right here. It says, if you are a family member or a friend, try to see the person regularly. Did any of my friends try to see me regularly after I hurt my back? No. No, I was ghosted for 6 months. The only people that were talking to me were fucking Starbucks employees, cops who were harassing me, and fucking schizophrenics. Obviously, the cops and I weren't having conversations. Obviously, we don't get to have conversations with Starbucks employees. They're busy working. for 6 months, nothing but fucking schizophrenics. Yeah, that'd drive anybody fucking nuts. All because I hurt my back, and people wanted to pretend that because I wasn't in a wheelchair, that I could just snap my fingers and be able to do everything that I was able to do before. That's not fucking realistic. I don't care how fucking stupid you want to. Oh, but it's okay, isn't it? Now, this is why Natalie was my friend. This is when Natalie Bollinger, as an adult, came into my life and was going to help me. Some fucking help that was, huh? Natalie did the same thing. Oh, poor me, poor me, poor me. When it's time to keep your word, what do? Make excuses. With Natalie, it was an even more fucked up situation. See, the thing is, until I was stuck in Virginia, I wasn't dependent on her. I wasn't dependent on her sister. I could have used my vehicle to go see my friends in Boulder, Colorado. And because I had a vehicle, I didn't have to carry around everything that keeps me alive and keeps me from freezing to death at night on my back. But it didn't end up being that situation, did it? No. Jamie Curtis needed a rescue. Jamie Curtis needed help moving out of a situation where she was living with a guy named James Payton, who was beating on her. According to her, anyway. I can't vouch for the beatings, I can only vouch for the bruises. I wasn't there to see her get beaten on. I was only there to hear her side of the story. For all I know, especially with what she's wanting to say now, changing her story, just like Natalie changed her story. Just like Claire keeps changing her story. Once you find something that works, that's what you're going to do, right? For guys, it's usually money. Hey, I got kids and a truck payment and a house payment. So I can't spend this time to do that. I got to go to work. I got to make money. I got to take care of my family. For women, it's completely different. See, a guy, sometimes he'll say maybe, but you got to understand as an adult, when somebody says maybe, they don't mean maybe. They mean no. They mean no. They mean they don't want to do it. A maybe means you sometimes maybe might be able to con them into doing the right thing or convince them to do the right thing or whatever if you offer the right thing, but that's conditional. Somebody who's broke can't fucking do that with everybody. Then you've got the situation where I'm overwhelmed because there's so much to go through. And in order to get your help, you want me to do certain things. Things that haven't worked. Obviously haven't worked. I've tried them repeatedly. Now, the people that Claire wants to repeatedly bring up her situation. Oh, don't talk to this person. Don't talk to that person. They did horrible things to me. They helped people to human traffic my children out of Tillamook, Oregon. Well, you know what? I'm sick of it. I don't believe her. And the fact that I've got so many recordings from her making these claims, but every time that it's time to turn it in, oh, now she doesn't need help turning it in. Now the Boulder police are the greatest guys in the world, and they're actually helping her. Yeah. And then, of course, the next time she needs the bleeding heart excuse, it's, but Boulder, yeah, I know I told you they were going to serve him the warrant. I know I told you they were going to pick him up yesterday, but, they made a mistake. Oh, they accidentally called him and informed him, so now he's fleeing around the country. He's probably hurting more people. No. I've literally wasted over 1,000 hours of my life to send Claire stuff that she, well, more than that. I mean, I have spent so much time texting with her, typing with her, and not a goddamn thing. She never once tried to turn in any of this supposed abuse that she was claiming that she was going to turn in. She never once tried to turn it in. Ever. Because she already knew, and she claimed she understood that she already knew that if you go in alone, you're shooting yourself in the foot. And she literally had somebody right there that would help her. Now, between going with me to turn this in or going with a guy that she admits is a fucking twack job, multiple people here in town know the guy first name and last. They know exactly who he is. So you go one way and you leave me with Casey, and then I'm stuck with this fucking twack job while you go run an errand real quick and you're going to be right back. And then you come back and you're like, all right, so, when are we going to turn this stuff in? Oh, well, let's take a look at it. Will this and will that. She never met me at the library like she said she was going to. It was always just after she started hooking up with Casey, like her kids didn't fucking exist. This is the thing that is pissing me off about this fucking situation the most. While she was hanging out with Casey, her kids did not exist. She was having a good time, and her kids came up only when she wanted something. That's it. That's literally it. Her kids did not exist until she wanted something. Then, of course, today with the villain's place, or whatever, the villain's crime, Claire called up about halfway through it, still didn't know what the fuck is going on, and isn't going to know what the fuck is going on because she can't shut up. How about Mandy Hughes or Mandy Singer when it's actually time to come through and turn it in? Did Mandy Singer keep her word? No, she did not. I literally gave her $500, $400 of it so that she could get herself a computer, and $100 for 5 hours worth of helping me at $20 an hour. And instead of helping me, I had to wait until after Christmas so that her daughter could get a discount on a computer. And when I finally did get there, after the situation with my sister and multiple situations of abuse in Chapel, Nebraska, and it's literally months later, I get there and she has not purchased a computer with it. No, she's got a fucking tablet with a keyboard. Think about that. A tablet with a keyboard. And it didn't even have the ability to plug in the USBs. There was no way to do a lot of the stuff that you can do on a computer. There was no way that she was going to have the storage for any of this stuff that I sent her. And literally, that computer, I gave her the money for a computer so that she could help me with my case. And while I was there, she spent all of her time on that word processor thingy doing her own stuff. I didn't even exist except to fucking tell me stories. I was able to pull her away from it, I want to say twice. The whole time that I was over there supposedly going to get help from Mandy Singer, I'm hearing her stories and hearing how she has this new perspective now that her grandson is a black kid, half black kid. So now all of a sudden she's newly enlightened with the racism thing and she understands racism and so on and so forth. And all of a sudden she's this, like, no. It also just so happened that while that situation was going on, finally we'd set it up so that I could show up a week before, but then I was getting harassed by the cops. over Leslie Snell, who her and her husband were harassing me. How is it okay for these people to continue to harass you after you've tried to turn them in? And why am I failing to be able to turn them in? Because in order to safely turn these pieces of shit in, you have to have a friend or family member who actually cares. They have to know what's going on. They want to say, oh, Sean, I don't need to see it. I trust you. You're the most honest person I know. Well, then help me turn it in. Oh, I can't do that. I haven't seen it. You're literally just going around in circles making excuses. Now, Claire says that all these places are sending her around in circles. I have no evidence of that. I have never seen, ever seen her work on any of her own case. I have never seen her try to turn anything in. I have never heard her make a call about any of the abuse that she's enduring, supposedly enduring. She wants to bitch at me almost every single time that nobody helped her to turn it in. That is absolutely not true. That is absolutely 100% not true. When she says that none of these services would help her, I can believe that. It's a believable story from my experience, but it is not a direct translation. Now, let me give you an example of direct translation versus indirect translation. Let's say that you go to the Montessori school, right? And 20 years ago, you were assaulted at the Montessori school by one of your teachers. And then 20 years later, your daughter is at school at the Montessori school, and she gets assaulted by some of the students. That's not a direct translation. Now, let's give you another example of it's not a direct translation. It does not apply. We can give you a lot of them. Let me pause this for a second. I'm going to take a drink of this here cider. Now, here is another indirect translation. Let's say, let's just throw a name out there. Let's just say Officer Jones or Officer Miller. I haven't known a lot of people that'd be pissed off about that. So let's say Officer Miller rapes two different women. Now, if one woman says, I know that he raped her because he raped me, that's not a direct translation. And if both of you women are saying that, well, that actually does help as supporting evidence. You know, there's a possibility that this is a serial rapist. That is useful information. However, that is certainly not the same as evidence of being raped. And this is one of the things that police rely on. Police rely on the fact that their word is taken as evidence. So if a police officer wants to rape a white woman and a black woman, and those two women are too busy arguing with each other over who's the bigger victim, guess what? That officer gets away. That officer gets to continue raping people, and he gets to continue getting away with it. He's got a badge. Yeah. Now, how pissed off would you be if you were raped by a police officer? Let's say you were raped by Officer Schneider in Tacoma, Washington. And when you tried to turn him in, they sent you to Officer Schneider. How would you feel about that? Now, let's talk about a direct translation here. What is a direct translation? Let's say you're trying to help me to turn it in, and you saw me get physically assaulted. That is actually a direct translation. And if it's recorded, well, that's solid evidence. But if you don't bother to record anything despite the fact that you promised to do so and claim that you do, and you're not going to write anything down even though you promised to do so and claim that you're gonna, and you want to tell me about how great your memory is, and your memory fucking sucks. You literally can't remember something for 30 seconds. After saying, yes, I understand. And then 30 seconds later, you just finished a sentence that showed that you literally didn't hear any of it. You literally didn't hear it. And all of these women who promised to help and wasted all of this time, they want to do what? Oh, my kids, my kids, my kids, my kids. No, no. You stuck your nose in. Because you stuck your nose in the situation, you are involved. You added to the stress. You added to the massive volume of bullshit that I've already got. And then you were expecting me to give a bunch of promises that you expect me to fulfill, but you're not going to fulfill your end, are you? Now, of course, we've got Shannon Alvarado, another fine example of this. Shannon Alvarado's place was a horrible experience. She's a horrible fucking alcoholic. A horrible alcoholic. She is a shitty excuse for a human being when she's been drinking. But she doesn't even need to drink. See, the amount of time that it takes for alcohol to settle into your system and get you drunk, no, she gets like that pretty much immediately. Like, and we're not talking about gradually she goes from being sober to being drunk. I mean, like, the smell of the alcohol snaps her into the it's okay to be an idiot phase. I'm pretty sure if you let her sniff the bottle, she would probably act drunk off of it. And this is somebody I'm supposed to be getting help from. Wants to constantly, instead of helping me to turn this in, wants to constantly tell me to do a bunch of other stuff. Wants to send me a bunch of articles that are completely unrelated to my situation and tell me, hey, have you tried calling the Adult Protective Services? Fucking Christ. And then, of course, she wants to expose Kara Johnson Miles and make a big fucking deal about it to me. Now, all I needed to do was verify it. It didn't take very long to verify it, okay? Kara Johnson Miles wanted to mess around a bit and fucking play head games a bit. But when she finally realized she was busted, she definitely went at Shannon Alvarado with a vengeance. Now, because Shannon Alvarado literally never tried to turn that in, not once ever, that this supposed autism advocate that I was supposed to send this evidence to, because she was a mandatory reporter and was going to turn this evidence in, that this woman instead was getting onto Natalie Bollinger Facebook pages and slandering my name in those Facebook pages. She wasn't reaching back a hold of me. What she was doing was trying to play fucking victim. She was trying to pull a situation. She was helping the Bollingers to play fucking head games. And because Shannon Alvarado never lifted a goddamn finger in all this time to actually turn this in, she's got all of her excuses for not trying. Oh, well, they destroyed all of that. I got my Facebook taken away. They took away my this and they took away my that. But I don't fucking care. She uses the excuse that she doesn't have access to that shit anymore at the same exact part of the story every time. Her excuse for not helping to turn it in now is she doesn't have access to that. I have access to it. The reason I have access to it is because, unlike Shannon Alvarado, who is a shitty excuse for a human being and a goddamn liar, I screenshotted it. I screenshotted it. The stuff that she sent me, that Shannon Alvarado sent me. The things that Kara Johnson Miles was typing to her. She wanted to, well, she knew she'd gotten busted manipulating, and she wanted to be pissed off at Shannon Alvarado for exposing it. She should have just kept her nose out of it. She should have just stayed out of it. But the problem is that Shannon Alvarado is a shitty excuse for a human being who literally never intended on helping to turn it in. Just like that Missy lady and Dan Fabert literally never intended on helping to turn it in. What they did is waste my time. It was entertainment for them. It had nothing to do with turning in the truth. It had nothing to do with the evidence. It had to do with fucking with somebody because you could. It has to do with wanting some popularity, somebody to pay attention to you. I've known a lot of you fucking shits in my life. Think that telling outlandish goddamn stories is going to make people fucking like you more. No, it makes people think you're fucking delusional. The thing is that most of you are delusional. You don't even own a firearm. But when I let you know that people are approaching my friends and family in real life and threatening them, you say, oh, if they did that to me and my family, I'd pull out my gat and rat-tat-tat. But you won't. You don't own a gat. You think these people are going to wait for you to go pass a background check, earn the money, and purchase the goddamn thing and then come back? Do you really have that much of a fucking delusional hold on reality? The thing is, I don't go doing horrible shit to people. I understand that there's a possibility, especially when you got kids, that some of that stuff can be difficult. So don't fucking volunteer. Don't offer to help somebody when you don't plan on ever helping them. Don't waste their time. Don't make empty promises. Claire knows that if she wants me to have a panic attack, all she's got to do is set up an appointment for tomorrow and then literally no call, no show for a couple of days. The least you can fucking do after pulling the shit that you pulled is let the person know that you're not going to fucking be there. The least you can do is let them know that you aren't fucking dead. Because, see, when you tell me that you're afraid of your ex-husband coming and getting you, that there's a warrant out for him, they already signed the warrant. This is like the fifth time she fucking said, well, not the fifth, at least the third time that she said that they filled out the warrant and they were going to pick him up. She wants to talk about how these cops are such good cops now and they're going to help her and maybe they'll help me too. And then she'll give me the name. She doesn't text it to me. She won't call him with me. Like, here's what it seems like to me. That if I give Claire Jordan 30 hours of my time, she might make one call. If I send her 80 hours worth of evidence, she might look at 2% of it. Now, there is a possibility that she read all of it and her memory just sucks that bad. But whether it's from trauma or from just wanting attention because she's alone and feeling lonely and wants somebody who, well, if she tells stories to them, then they can basically bounce stories back and forth. That's not okay. This isn't for bouncing back and forth stories. You were going to help me to turn this abuse in, and in exchange, I was going to help you to turn your abuse in. But it has to be actual abuse, and all Claire Jordan has made against these people is accusations. And when she claims that she went in to turn it in, there's no evidence of it. When she tells me not to trust John from TCCHC because he was involved in her case, and not to trust Shelley because she was involved in her case, and that case in specific is, she claimed that Shelley Robinson here, I hope I didn't say Rochelle Shelley Campbell, but like I said, there's a lot of people with the same names or similar names. She claims that that Shelley Robinson at CARE and John at TFCC helped to human traffic her daughters, one of which was not his, to a man who drove all the way to Florida being a rapist. And there is certain shit that you don't do to kids, but at the same time, like, she's been telling me for 3 years that she's been using this as her excuse. No, when you see something, you say something. Don't make excuses for fucking years. Don't do that. And she wanted help to turn that stuff in. And then all of a sudden, she didn't need that help. When I arrived to help, every time she has asked me for help, every single time, I am there immediately. And this is the one thing that not a single one of these women ever tried. This is something that Claire has literally never tried. This is something that Candace at Safeway literally never tried. This is something that Kayla Trujillo in Colorado literally never tried. This is something that Shannon Alvarado in California literally never tried. None of these people have actually made an effort. None of them. They were all empty promises and bad ideas. Now, there's a piece of paper to follow that's got some pretty good instructions, and those instructions will help keep you safe. But only if those people show up. Only if those people keep their word. Like Kayla Trujillo. When I was finally able to set up a meeting to try to turn in these crimes, and mind you, I literally had to break the law to get this to happen, because Kayla Trujillo was a lazy fucking heifer. She was more interested in playing games on her telephone than turning in the abuse. And if you listen to the phone calls, she's not going to admit any of that, is she? But she does admit that she was aware of a whole bunch of this stuff, that I did go to her for help. Now, instead of doing the right thing, which is to try to turn it in right away, what does she do? The same thing that literally all of them do. They just say it's not going to work and they don't know how. Why don't you call an attorney? Oh, I'm not an attorney. I can't help you because I'm not an attorney. I can't help you because I got trauma of my own. Well, yeah, exactly. If you've got trauma of your own, don't pretend to give a shit about somebody. And don't fucking go to people if you're having a fucking bad day either. If your excuse for allowing somebody else to be raped is because you were traumatized by being raped 10 years ago, so you're going to help that person's rapist get away because you're that traumatized? No, you are a sick person. You are a disgusting person. You are an immoral person. When you say that you care to put a stop to this, and then you waste the time of that human being, and you let them know that you don't actually care. See, here's the thing. After these people make these promises, here's how it works. Every time you want to remind them they didn't keep their word and that you're still being assaulted, that people are still threatening you, that you still have to deal with people harassing you literally every day because they didn't come forward. They allowed a false narrative to be sold. Natalie Bollinger never accused me of raping or molesting her. The problem was that she also wasn't telling them, dude, that never happened, leave them alone. She wasn't asking these people to leave me alone. She was asking them to ignore what I was saying. And of course, the problem with Claire is that, of course, when it comes time for her to keep her word, instead she's going to come up with an excuse to make it her turn to talk. She wants to say nothing redacted, but then all of a sudden, now that she's actually been busted more than once, not saying things the same way, obviously. You know, two things can be true at once, as I said earlier. They can be. However, she told two completely different stories about something that's, not very probable. See, she blamed Casey for blocking me on her phone and that she didn't even know. And now it's she blocked me for my own safety. And this isn't the only discrepancy through this. And she knows that the rape thing is a big thing. So all she's got to do is claim that another underage girl was raped and it absolves her. Or another detective is calling and that absolves her. Now, my question is, how is it that Boulder Police Department is able to get anything done with all of the rapes and time that she's spending with them on the phone? How are they able to investigate any other crimes? Like Estes Park? That should be apparently Estes Park Police Department, right? So it apparently is Estes Park and Boulder that she's having to deal with. That's entirely possible. But I don't believe it. I don't believe it because I can't. I don't believe it because she doesn't keep her word. She doesn't listen. She doesn't know how to follow instructions for certain. How about we get a pen and a piece of paper so we can write it down? That'll help. Make a list. Stick to the list. You can do this. I literally had to yell at her because her memory is so shitty that not only could she not remember what was said 30 seconds earlier and couldn't remember the pen and couldn't remember the piece of paper, she also couldn't remember that she had said, well, quite a bit. Like, if her memory is affected that bad, I know that my memory is certainly affected. But for me, my memory isn't affected to the point where I'm literally forgetting everything. My memory is affected to the point that it takes me a while to remember certain things because so many different situations have happened. And there's also a timeline to it. When did the events happen? Did I speak up about being assaulted before or after I was assaulted? Police officers wanting to tell me that, well, the reason that I was assaulted is because I was recording the assault. Well, what about the assault from the same exact person who assaulted me the time before when I wasn't recording? Or how about property damage? These people want to threaten my life and threaten my family. People like Robert Franklin Mornick came out into the street and threatened my life in the street, claiming he heard a rumor while he's got a beer in his hand. Turns out that dude's a fucking pedophile. Only a 25-year pedophile, though. So he got off 2 years ago. And now he's not a registered pedophile anymore, which Makes it even easier to have access to your kids. But it's fine, isn't it? It's fine because, of course, we've got what? Women like Laura Nelson, women like Kayla Trujillo, women like Candace over here at the Safeway, people like Cara Rogers, aka Cara Mia, and then of course there's, what did she call herself? Missy Johnson. No, you guys never intended on helping me. Whenever it is time to help me, there is always going to be an excuse. You've got cancer, your kids are sick, you got diarrhea, you're puking again, you're on the cops, on a phone with the cops, or of course you got a therapy appointment, or you got to go to this, or you got to go to that, and you're going to all these different things, and no wonder you can't do anything. No wonder you ain't got the time to help me. So why did you say that you would? The other thing is, after you've said that you would and you've wasted that much of my time, I'm definitely going to go fucking public about it. I'm not going to pretend that I didn't waste all of that time on fucking lies from a fucking liar. If it's real bad, she'll tell me it happened to her. So basically, she's got a rotation of excuses. She's never going to do it. She's never going to. She has completely fucked me over by not showing up for the most important calls. Now, is she going to listen to the 3.5 hour recording with Kylie? No, she's fucking not. But she also didn't spend that time like she said she was gonna when we went to turn it in. She never does. If she interjects, most of the time, she interjects to try to say, oh, because it happened to me. No, 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 no. That is not a direct translation. I sent you a video of this guy fucking assaulting me. Can you remember his name? No. Can you remember that we were trying to turn in the fucking assault here as evidence that me saying that I was assaulted is not a delusion? As evidence that what the police want to claim was a delusion actually happened? That's a direct translation. I sent you the fucking evidence of what happened to me so you can help turn it in, so that you can verify that it is not a delusion. Not to me, but to the people we need to fucking turn it into. Yeah, I agree that I shouldn't have to turn it in to my predators, but I am literally being forced to, very specifically, because none of these people who pretended to be my friends ever actually did the friend thing and helped to turn it in right away. Every one of them wanted things. They wanted to put more expectations on me than I was capable of. They wanted me to do a whole bunch of stuff. Oh, Sean, I'll help you turn it in if you read this article. I read your article. Then, of course, there's the showing by example. Claire claims that she's helping all these girls in Colorado to turn in their rapists right away. But she has no fucking clue what the hell she's doing, does she? If she's got no fucking clue what she's doing, she shouldn't be doing it. It's obvious in my situation that there's always going to be some excuse why I have to take the back seat. She claims that she's finally getting all this help, but she's claimed that before, only to bitch at me months later when it's again time for her to keep her word, and she's all, oh, I can't, I'm scared. I can't, I'm scared. He's still out there. He's still out there. I'm afraid for my daughter. He's still out there. Well, Then what? Then she complains the cops won't do anything, that she's going through the same thing as me. Oh, poor her, she's going through the same thing as me. Well, then let's turn it in together. She's also deterring me from speaking to the investigators here that I had originally set up to call with her, because she was supposed to be on that call with John. But she wasn't. Why? Because she doesn't keep her word. I would have a lot easier time believing that she was not on drugs if it wasn't for the fact that instead of helping me, she slithered off the same exact way that Casey does and came back with the same issue. Now, I want to believe her because I've never seen her with methamphetamines. I've never seen her smoke it. Then again, I've never seen my sister smoke it, and Jesus fucking Christ, yeah, she's fucking strung out as a motherfucker. Now, the reason I keep making excuses for Claire is because this could be a trauma reaction, but it's not. She wouldn't be wishy-washy about turning it in every single time that it's time to turn in something that happened to me. She wants to talk about herself, and she's going to try to turn that in and try to claim that because it happened to her, it must have happened to me. No. We're not going to include your schizophrenic bullshit in this anymore. We are not including her schizophrenic bullshit anymore. She committed multiple crimes against me. Over and over again, she committed crimes here in Oregon. And she wants to pretend that it was to get her children safe from a man that Shelley and the people at TFCC gave $3,800 to. $3,800 to human traffic those kids across the country, feed them drugs and alcohol, and fucking stick his dick where it doesn't belong. Now, when you want to say, how dare you tell on the victim, I don't know that this person's a victim at all. I know that when Claire told me that it was happening, that I tried to turn it in right away, and I was in jail when she told me about it. I know that it wasn't taken seriously. I also know that Claire's not taking it seriously. When it came to that letter that she was claiming it looked like it was covered in mud, she made it seem like they didn't send it to her for over a month. Well, then it turns out that there was some sort of an issue that she's going to tell me this outlandish story about that might actually be true, but it's a different story than letting on that they fucking didn't send it for over a month. That's not a direct lie, though, is it? Of course not. Omitting information isn't a lie, is it? If you interrupt somebody over and over and over again while they're trying to give you important information, then later on you can pretend that they omitted that part, can't you? Or if you talk over that part so that you didn't hear a word that they said because you feel it's your turn to talk as a woman. It's your turn to give advice. No, I don't want your fucking advice. I've got instructions to fucking follow. I don't have a friend or family member helping me turn in even the fact that I don't have these things, which is why they're able to take advantage of the fact that I don't have these things. I don't have a friend or family member doing any of these things. Claire's not doing them. She literally does not care. There are steps that we can take to help to keep me safe when I have to turn in this abuse. But she's not going to understand any of that because she's incapable of understanding the English language. If the English language is not what she's thinking in her head, it doesn't exist. Now, of course, if I repeat something to her over and over and over and over and over and over, like she's a puppy dog, she might remember a few pieces because of repetition, but the amount of repetition it takes is ungodly fucking horrible. It is literally as bad as having to go to a schizophrenic for help. It is literally as bad as going to somebody who you know is literally not going to lift a finger, but you hope because they keep promising and they keep saying over and over again, oh, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it again. Oh, I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry, Sean. I won't do it again. I won't do it again. Don't fucking lie to me. No. What Claire Jordan has done in this situation is highly predatory. It isn't about helping me. It isn't about turning in the crimes that were committed against me. She's going to put in just enough effort that she can say that she did something. But, I mean, really, I think she needs to find a new friend. Because it's obvious that although I am willing and have offered to do all of these things that she will not shut the fuck up about. She won't stop complaining that nobody would do those things. No, you're a fucking liar, Claire. Don't fucking lie to me. And also, don't use that, oh, nobody would help me as an excuse for not keeping your fucking word. When you know goddamn well that there were people who will help you, have helped you over and over and over again, and you just took advantage of us over and over and over again and fucked up our opportunities at every opportunity that you could. What the fuck is wrong with you, lady? Jesus goddamn Christ, I've been defending you on Facebook, on YouTube, literally for years. When you went missing, I was fucking afraid for you. And you knew that's what was going to happen if you did that. That's the worst fucking part. That she's done this multiple times. I had to go in and try to talk to fucking Kylie while fucking having a severe fucking panic attack over whether or not Claire is fucking lying dead in a goddamn ditch because the fucking dude who she's claiming the fucking is a schizophrenic who fucking raped her. She's used this guy as an excuse on 4 or 5 different occasions for not keeping her word. This same neighbor who's schizophrenic, who keeps coming over and has inappropriate boundaries, well, maybe if you got kids and you got some schizophrenic with inappropriate boundaries at your house, you might, I don't fucking know, be a responsible fucking parent. Like, that pissed me off to hear that, but I have to pretend that this is not a big major deal. She tells me he has inappropriate thoughts and that he has an inappropriate infatuation with her. So she's basically got a stalker that she's inviting into her life. This dude is supposedly schizophrenic. She claims that she knows for a fact that he's schizophrenic and that she knows for a fact that I'm not schizophrenic. But then she wants to interrupt me to tell me about this schizophrenic guy that she's helping as an example of how she's trying to help people. Like, no, fuck that shit. Are you fucking nuts? She says that unlike me, who has all of this evidence to show, that he doesn't have any evidence that this stuff that he's saying is crazy. Well, that's kind of the way I feel about fucking Claire at this point. No, that's exactly how I feel about Claire at this point. I don't know what the fuck she gets out of this other than just attention for attention's sake. It'd be nice if we could get some fucking positive attention, but no, we can't get positive attention with somebody who has to make everything into a fucking pissing contest. And oh, poor me, I'm just a girl. Oh, poor me, I'm just a girl. Oh, what happened to my daughter? What happened to my daughter? Oh, Sean, don't listen to those people. No. Once you have deterred me from turning people in because you told me that they helped human traffic your underage daughter across the entire country and she was raped repeatedly and forced to take drugs. Yeah, I am fucking sick of this. You told me this fucking a long time ago and I turned it in, right? I did what I was supposed to turn it in. And then all of a sudden she gets a hold of me and there's a bunch of stuff that her daughter woke up and magically remembered about literally the same thing that she had told me fucking a year earlier. 2 years earlier, sorry. That's not new information. I hate to break it to you. The other thing is if this shit is actually happening and you know that I record every fucking call to the best of my ability, and you want to say nothing redacted, and you are literally going out of your way to say things in our recordings, and also you want me to keep things private and not record them. No, if you were going to tell me that your daughter was fucking raped, all right, that's something I am fucking going to goddamn record. The moment she started telling me the details of that shit, yes, I fucking turned on my goddamn recording device and pretended that I didn't know that I'd done it. Do you know why? Because if that shit is true, then she needs to stop intentionally posting it on my YouTube, which is what she is doing when she is intentionally talking over me to tell me about all of this other stuff and then interrupting me to tell me, oh, but it's not about me, it's about you. Oh, but it's not about me, it's about you. Oh, it's not about me, it's about you. Let me make it about me for a second. 5 minutes later, oh, let me make it about me for a second. You just made it yourself for 10 minutes. Now, you guys get to hear me talking. You know that I'm saying those things. You can hear me saying those things, not just to her. It's like if a man speaks English to a woman, she's going to retranslate it into I don't fucking know what. But if I tell a guy that I was punched in the face, I would expect that another man would actually understand what being punched in the face is. There seems to be a lot of women out there who want to look the other way while men are being beaten over their lies, and then they want to play like they're afraid they're going to get beaten. Like, of course, Leslie Snell, after her husband threatened to kill me along with others, and I tried to turn it in. Not just him, but also her, because she started working for the Dual County Sheriff's Department and wanted to obstruct justice. Meanwhile, I'm getting all of these instructions and following them by myself, even many of them that are illegal, turns out. That's right, police officers told me to do things that I was arrested for. Can you imagine that? They wanted to claim these things were not illegal. If other people do them, how insane is that? Oh, Sean, it's not okay, or it's not illegal to do that. Oh, Sean, now that you did that, we're going to arrest you. Or, oh, Sean, now that you just threatened to do that, we're going to arrest you. Or, since we want to grossly reinterpret what you said to be a hint that you were going to hurt somebody, we're going to arrest you. Or, oh, you don't want to be here? That means you're trying to commit suicide. Let's take you to the Boulder Hospital. All of those situations, every single one of those situations, is because instead of my friends trying to understand that if you don't go in with me, we aren't going to get heard. No, they didn't want to understand that. What they wanted to know is what they were going to get out of it. Well, I'll tell you what they got out of it. They got recorded lying, and they got recorded and posted on fucking YouTube. I'm sick of this shit. I'm fucking sick of having to trust untrustworthy people. people who have shown me time and again that they can't be trusted. And no matter how many times I make exceptions, they still do the same exact thing. Meanwhile, I still don't have a friend or family member to help turn this in. All right? Obviously, Claire Jordan is not fucking reliable. She's not reliable. When it comes to her making a statement, typing out a statement, she's been going to do that for a long time. Since a long time before I went to jail, she was going to do that. And she still hasn't done that. Still hasn't gotten around to that. Still hasn't made time for that. I wonder why. Could it be possibly because she can't shut the fuck up? I'd like to believe her, but everything that she's shown me leads me to believe that she's not believable. Oh, fuck it. Smoke one of these goddamn menthols. These things are so goddamn nasty. Oh, good, they're gone. I guess I'm not going to smoke a menthol. That one's too fucking short. I don't want to burn my fingers, and I don't want to try to stuff it in that thing when there's hardly any tobacco in it, because then instead of getting to smoke the tobacco, the paper stays stuck to the holder and the tobacco goes right down your throat. Now, through all of this, I want to ask you a question. After listening to all of this, which nobody's going to anyway, is it right for me to speak out about this? I don't know how old the daughter is that was supposedly a rape victim. I know what Claire told me. But I also know that I've never seen any piece of evidence to suggest that she ever tried to turn in any of those crimes except to interrupt me when we were trying to turn in the crimes committed against me. I don't need her to say, I know it happened to Sean because it happened to me. That's not a direct translation. I sent you videos of people physically assaulting me. Did they physically assault me in those videos? Yes. Okay, well, if your daughter showed you a video of people physically assaulting her, how long would it take you to figure out how to fucking turn it in? Would you say, oh, well, you gotta, I'll take the time to transcript it out? No, you fucking won't, and you don't need to transcript it. If your daughter's got a video of her being fucking pummeled by kids at school, no, you don't have to sit there and fucking spend days transcripting it. No, you don't have to fucking do that. You don't have to sit through it and try to figure out what literally every person in the crowd has said and fucking type it all down with their names and all that stuff and do that. No, what you're turning in is literally the assault. Here's the guy who decided to hit this girl. That's what you're turning in. Sure, there might have been 30 people around or even 300 people around, and they all might have been talking. But you're not going to waste the time with a transcript, are you? You're going to watch the video, and when you tell the police what happened, you're going to say, hey, this guy came up to my daughter and said, hey, you're half my size. You can give me a blowjob or I can beat your ass. And then he beat my daughter's ass. I saw the video. The video exists. Now, of course, nobody's really going to believe that something like that would actually happen. I don't know anybody who's been that brazen, and I certainly don't know any men who have gone full bore on a woman. If you don't know what full bore is, well, that's when a man treats you like a man. I have, in very, very few instances, seen a man hit a woman. And, well, fewer still where the man hit the woman first. I think there might be one or two instances that I've seen with my own two eyes where a man hit a woman first. That's it. And in all those cases, he didn't hit her very hard. Or in both of those cases. But I have to say in all those cases, because really, none of the guys that I have seen hit a woman back have hit them very hard either. Because most of them didn't hit the woman, they pushed a physically abusive woman away from them. And that's physical assault against a woman, but punching a man in the head repeatedly is not physical assault. That's nuttier than squirrel turds. Now, they're going to take the man away in that situation, unless there's video. Now, if the video shows that she was beating on him repeatedly and that pushing her away was defensive because she was fucking hitting him, well then, yeah, obviously any jury's going to look at that and go, what the fuck were you hitting him for, stupid? He pushed you away. He didn't fucking sucker punch you in the nose out of nowhere. You fucking beat on him for fucking 3 minutes straight. Yeah, you had it coming. He didn't fucking beat on you. He pushed a physically abusive assailant away from him. And you should be lucky he didn't put you in a fucking headlock. Moral of the story, leave us the fuck alone. If a guy drives 1,700 miles away from you, take that as a fucking hint to leave him alone. Don't go fucking slandering his name because you didn't get what the fuck you wanted. And don't promise to help somebody if you're always going to hide behind your kids. And don't try to be part of a club that you're not a part of. If you ain't from the south side of the tracks, don't pretend to be. Yeah, I grew up in the system with primarily minorities. In most of those places, it was either Hispanic people or black people. Some of them a mix of both. There's a lot of Cambodians in Washington State. Now, since I was raised with a bunch of black kids, does that mean that I go walking around talking Ebonics? Fuck no. I've known plenty of black kids that are all about the Ebonics till they get in their mama's crib. Then it's different. I don't do what Bradley Dollinger does, which is, this guy's the whitest white guy you ever seen. And he tries to talk like he's doing the Ebonics thing while having a Maryland accent, I think is what it's, I don't know what it's supposed to be. And he says, this just how I talk. Like, no, that's not how you talk. Bradley, I've heard you talk like a human being on the telephone to other human beings. That is not how you talk. You for certainly sound like you grew up in at least an upper middle class white household. And what does this all have to do with Claire? Well, it's got to do with all of you. Obviously, these people may care emotionally for a little bit. They might feel bad about not keeping their word, but they're not actually going to keep their word now either. I mean, I'm literally at the point where I literally had to yell at her. If you're going to tell me that this situation is unsafe, that I'm unsafe, that my life is at risk, stop fucking talking to me. Stop telling me. Stop interrupting me to tell me that for certain. The other thing is, if we're going to turn this stuff in, that's what you need to fucking lead with. I saw him get assaulted. Yes, there is a video of him being assaulted. Pretty fucking simple. Now, she did finally do that, just to the wrong people. Because when it was the right people, she didn't show up. She was a no call, no show every single time. And I do mean literally every single one. So when she finally decided that she was going to try to make phone calls, the problem is that I have to have a fucking 6 to 8 hours worth of conversation before she's ready to do anything like that, because that's how long it takes to try to get through the important shit that goes on, because I have to keep on interrupting her to say, hey, you literally have derailed the train over a dozen times by saying exactly the same things that you're saying. You have literally derailed my story at exactly the same place over and over and over again to tell me the same exact story. I know that I can't tell you what it is that we need to turn in because you're not gonna stop and listen. Everything triggers some fucking story where you want to make it a pissing contest, and that is exactly what it is. Where now she claims that she's been recording this stuff going all the way back for years, and she recorded all of the people involved, and she recorded everybody at TFCC. Really? Prove it. She has literally sent no evidence to prove any of her accusations. Now, I took her word for it, because she was maintaining a minimal level of crazy, I suppose is the way to put it. But yeah, at this point, I severely see her as a schizophrenic, delusional fucking nut job on methamphetamines. If she actually cared, she'd look at the evidence and help turn it in. If she actually cared, she would listen to my story instead of making it a fucking pissing contest. When people say, oh, I can't make any sense of the evidence because it doesn't have any context, well, maybe if you would shut the fuck up, you'd know the context. Or if you would maybe, I don't know, stop trying to look for excuses to dig a way out after you've made a promise. Just tell me that you're not fucking going to. That'll make it the simplest for me, because if you tell me that you're not going to fucking keep your word, that makes it free for me to post up all that shit on YouTube and fucking Facebook. Do not fucking lie to me. It's not a fucking joke. It's not a fucking game. I am not Claire Jordan's fucking toy. I wasn't Jamie Curtis's toy, and I'm not going to be your fucking toy either. Claire Jordan's a lying piece of shit. I'm not going to believe anything otherwise because she hasn't shown me otherwise. If she does something, she's literally going to do it as half-assed as possible and as far away from the actual event as she possibly can. Any excuse will do. Oh, well, they wouldn't listen to me because they were calling me mentally ill too. I don't care if they're calling you mentally ill. If you're a fucking witness to an assault, you're a witness to an assault. If you're a witness to people threatening to kill me, you're a witness to people threatening to kill me. When you tell me you can't turn in anything that's on Facebook or YouTube, well, excuse me, but that's definitely a myth. I know, because I have been charged with crimes for things that were on Facebook and YouTube. They also had to drop those charges because I wasn't guilty. Can you imagine that? No, Claire Jordan doesn't give a shit. Did she watch any of that evidence that I sent her? Well, no. I know how long it takes to go through that. I know how long it took to dig it up and to fucking get it organized and get it sent to them. It took a lot of time, and I know how long it takes to read it. And with her having to deal with multiple girls coming to her house because they're being raped, and she's having to deal with the police officers in, like, what, 14 different rape situations now, because there's the 11 that have started since all of her situation there. And then there's the stuff with her own family. And then there's the fact that I'm literally having to speak about that on fucking YouTube because it's her goddamn excuse. All right, these are excuses. She doesn't give a shit. She does not give a shit. All right, she could try to work with me, but that didn't happen when she claimed that she called Nick Troxel. Did she call him with me? No, she called him solo. Did she record it? She claimed to, but never sent the recording. So I'm still having issues because Nick Troxel is still the police chief. But now he's not the interim police chief anymore. Now he's got more power. How's that helpful for me? Now, if Claire's going to make all these claims, then she needs to say it to these professional people. She claims that she already has. If she's going to help me, then we need to focus on at least her admitting that I sent her the goddamn evidence. The other thing is, if she's going to tell me that she thinks my life's at risk, stop telling me. When we make these fucking phone calls, that needs to be the first goddamn thing out of your mouth instead of stupid shit. Now, you guys got to hear that when I called that lady, what was her name? See, having problems remembering names and numbers because I'm fucking stressed out and there's just too many goddamn people involved. But you get to hear through that recording that Claire, obviously, even though she's incapable of shutting the fuck up and listening to me, she's able to, for the most part, shut the fuck up when I'm talking to somebody else. So, if I'm talking to somebody else, then she can shut the fuck up and hear part of my story without constantly making it about her. But you also get to hear in that call that she does try to make it about her. That's one of the things about me having to take the lead in this. Yeah, I can't trust her to turn it in or to speak up because she doesn't know what the fuck is going on. And when you're a disabled person, what you need is a friend or family member to know what the fuck is going on because they're gonna have to speak for you. That's what advocacy is. They are going to have to fucking speak for you because you're a fucking retard. That's how it is. According to the United States government, I am a fucking retard because I'm disabled. I am too fucking retarded to know right from wrong because I'm disabled. I am so fucking retarded, right? I am so retarded that I don't know what being punched in the face is. No, I have delusions about what that must be. No, it's not actually getting punched in the face. No, it's somebody trying to massage something on me. No, they weren't trying to punch you in the head. They were trying to wipe a bug off your eyebrow. Do I really need that shit? No, I fucking don't. I don't need you to fucking interrupt me to tell me that the fucking real life that I'm having to endure is a fucking delusion. God damn it. I'm tired. I'm sick of having to beg somebody to look at the fucking evidence. Claire, on most important phone calls, she didn't keep her word. She never keeps her word. When it is important, she is not going to keep her word. When you turn in abuse and you've seen this person get punched in the head, let's say there's a video of them getting punched in the head and they had to record that video Because if they don't record it, nobody's going to believe them. But then when they do record it, the people that they need to have look at it don't look at it. Claire could have spent the time looking at the evidence any time over the years, but she never tried to turn it in. She never made that effort. If you did not go in with somebody else, you didn't make the effort. Now, if you tried to get somebody to go in with you and there was nobody willing, that's a different story. But she always had somebody willing. I don't believe a goddamn thing that comes out of her mouth.